Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to our service. The first thing we're going to do is a couple of readings by Carl Sagan. The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself. And science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire congregation, I welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Shenandoah Valley. Here we are at the end of another year, another trip around the sun completed. For many, this brings a time of reflection on the past year's accomplishments and failings. This spawns resolutions for the coming year, for new accomplishments, or to finally conquer those pesky shortcomings. If this is not something you normally do, we invite you to try considering it this year. As Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Today, the worship committee would like to offer you 2 ways to help start you on this journey of self-reflection and identifying what is truly important to you. We will be discussing the spiritual aspects of labyrinths and the practice of setting intentions. We will have the opportunity to walk an indoor labyrinth. We will be bathed in meditative music, and we will be able to view the images of the cosmos from the James Webb and the Hubble telescopes that reflect the spiral pattern found in labyrinths and in all of nature. These images serve to remind us how marvelously we are made. We are all made of star stuff. They also offer perspective as to how small we are in the grand scheme of things. Again, Carl Sagan. We are like butterflies who flutter for a day and think it is forever. Now, as Zelda comes forward to light our chalice, let us all say together and hear from our homes the words for lighting our chalice. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, to share. And I invite you to join with us as we say our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help our neighbor. To these ends, we covenant one with another.
A New Year meditation. Ernest Werner from Celebrating Christmas. The moment of silence we have dedicated to listening in silence. It represents stillness, the stillness of repose beyond our striving, the stillness of peace which we seek in God, or miss achingly in this torn world. The stillness of an ultimate peace and perhaps a healing which we seek beyond our days. It represents fullness, for silence is not emptiness, but fullness. The fullness of potentiality before the deed, the fullness of possibility before the thought, the fullness of divine life before creation. And at last, our silence represents all that we cannot say, the words which we often cannot find in our praying or in our groping upon the ultimate things. Our silence represents astonishment at the miraculous fact after which there is nothing to say. It means receiving, not giving, waiting, not doing, resting, not strife, and peace. Silence, too, is prayer and meditation, acceptable to God. After we have thrown into the void our folly and our noise, after we have instructed divinity in the ways of divinity, or sought to entice personal favors, God waits for us to be silent, which will be filled. Silence is often the better prayer.
Good morning. I am not Dana Crone, who was supposed to do Children of All Ages this morning. She's not feeling well, so she asked Barbara Peters if she would do Children of All Ages this morning, but Barbara's not feeling well either, so you're stuck with me. I have some information to share with you about a labyrinth, about what it is and what it's for. There's also quite a bit of good information in your handouts this morning about labyrinths, which makes my job a lot easier. Labyrinths have a long and old history, dating back thousands of years. Labyrinths were used by different cultures and spiritual communities for meditation, simulated pilgrimages, or travels to religious places. Churches in many countries built in labyrinths in the tiles of their floors that have survived for years. Labyrinth patterns can be made from stones, pebbles, trees, shrubs, tree branches, like the one that was created in our parking lot last week. This morning's labyrinth is a large square of material taped to the floor of our sanctuary, where we can walk along its circular path, contemplating the universe, listening to beautiful music, and wearing a pair of borrowed socks. Do not walk on the labyrinth with your shoes. Thank you very much. While you walk slowly today, think about the world. Think about your life, your family, your blessings, or your troubles. Use this slow walk to take quiet time to just be in your mind. There are other ways to experience a labyrinth, and there are information for that in today's bulletin. I understand the children are staying in the service today, is that right? Okay. Since the children are staying in the service today, let's sing to them while they remain in their seats. Stay now in peace, stay now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may be sitting.
So I'm going to read a little bit of something else we also had for the kids, but is useful for all of you as well. Have you ever walked in a corn maze? Who has? Who's done a corn maze before? Yeah, okay. Now, of those of you who've done it, did anybody get lost? Yeah, that's because it's a maze, and a maze is different from a labyrinth. A maze has dead ends and blind alleys and whatnot, and but a labyrinth has only one circuit, or at least a unicursal labyrinth, which is what this is. So there's no way to get lost. You go in and you go out the same way. So some of you may also have heard of Theseus, the Greek warrior, who, and we're going to see a slide in just a minute, not yet, Robert. Robert is the wizard behind the screen. And the Minotaur, you know, he was put in there to get gobbled up by the Minotaur, and Ariadne had to save his life by, went in with unspooling a thread behind her so that they could get out, which leads me to think that it wasn't a labyrinth, it was a maze, but you're going to see an old Cretan labyrinth that was meant to be the Minotaur's labyrinth. Anyhow, you can also trace the labyrinth with your finger in your insert, and you can also learn how to draw what's called a 7-circuit labyrinth. So I will just begin by, I won't repeat what Jim has said, but I will say that many cultures and religions have used a labyrinth as a tool for meditation, contemplation, and spiritual growth. And I have a few slides to show you. Just a quickie thing. Next one, please, Robert. So this is the Cretan labyrinth, and you can see Theseus and the Minotaur in the middle. No error. We girls always got left out back then, but anyway, yeah. All right, next one, please. And this is meant to be a picture of Jericho at the center of a labyrinth. So somebody back when, like 5,000 years ago, thought that maybe the walls around Jericho were actually a labyrinth. Next slide. This is the 7-circuit labyrinth. That's the one that's in your handouts. Next one. I'm going to boogie through these. So now I'm just going to show you a few. This is a Roman labyrinth. Next. This is the Chartres labyrinth. I've actually walked that labyrinth. It's really nifty. Next one. This is one at Amiens. There are lots of them in France. That's mostly what we have today. Next. Reims Cathedral. Now this, you may remember, is where the Dauphin, whom Joan of Arc rescued from the British, was crowned King Charles VII of France, and that labyrinth is in that cathedral, and there when the Dauphin was crowned king. Next. This is another one, Toussaint Abbey. That's a very kind of complex 4-part one. You go from one to the next, but it is, they can see that they're unicursal. Next. And this is a maze. Can't get through that one. Next. Here's an old runic cross, and right in the bottom part you can see a 7-circuit labyrinth. Next. And here's just somebody's jolly idea from way back when of a man as a labyrinth. That's something to ponder when you go. Next. And here are penitents walking on their knees through the labyrinth of St. Anne's in Nottingham, England. Next. This is just a quick run through of how you can construct a labyrinth. Next. This is the one you have in your handouts. Next. Shows you how you do it. I'm not going to pause on that. Next. And this is a group of kids making a labyrinth with painter's tape. And I thought that might be fun to do sometime. Next. There it is, finished. Next. Next. So there's a whole labyrinth theme in the Divine Comedy by Dante. Next. Hell is a maze, as you might expect. No escape, no labyrinth in hell. Next. But purgatory, the Mount of Purgatory, is a labyrinth, climbing the mount. Next. Heaven is actually more circular, concentric circles. So all three of these images are illustrations. You'll see them in various illustrations for the Divine Comedy. Next. And next. Another one showing the ascent of the soul. Next. This is William Blake's painting of Jacob's ladder, and you'll see that it's not a ladder as we customarily think of it, but it is a spiral ladder ascending to heaven. Next. Here's a Russian icon. Next. Next. This is how the Ptolemaic universe, as it was pictured, you can see the spiral form of the planets. Next. Just going to keep going. Next. And this is our brain. My brain is more of a maze than a labyrinth, I would tend to say. Speaking for myself, I won't speak for you. Next. Cross section of the brain. You can see where some of these are old concepts, and they didn't just kind of appear out of nothing. Next. And next is just a colorful, complex drawing by an artist. By an artist. Next. There's a labyrinth in the sand. It's fun to do them in the beach. You know that we had one outside comprised of Christmas greens. Next. And I think this is either the final or the next to the final. This may be the cathedral in San Francisco. I can't remember. There's one outside and one inside. And they have one inside at the Washington Cathedral and have different times scheduled to walk it. Next. And this final one. And I've lost track of where I found that, but it's obviously in a church or cathedral somewhere. So walking the labyrinth's winding path serves as a metaphor for one's journey through life, reflecting the twists and turns, challenges and triumphs experienced on the way to the center, which represents the core of one's being or divine essence. As you follow the winding path, you are encouraged to reflect upon your own life and experiences, ultimately leading you to a deeper understanding of your inner self. The first step of the walk is releasing distracting cares and concerns as you move toward the center. The second step is standing at the center, where you may pause to receive clarity, reflect, meditate, or pray. The third step is the walk back out. You may finish your walk with a refreshed spirit, a renewed sense of purpose, or a sense of oneness with God or the universe. Before entering, you may want to sit quietly for a few minutes, clear your mind, and become aware of your breathing. Use this time to consider intentions you may want to set for your life. You'll hear more about those in a minute. When you are ready, begin your walk. Walk at a pace that is right for you. The path is two-way. You may pass people or let others pass you. It's courteous to step aside and go by you. If nothing happens, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. Take time for reflection. You might walk it again. It might take several times before you begin to understand the experience. Walking the labyrinth is a journey, as in life. We have a quiet time during today's service, during which anyone who would like to walk may do. Jim told you, wear socks. They're in a basket right here. You can put on some booties if you don't have socks.
I don't think I'll need the stool. Now we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions and intentions. Does anybody have a New Year's resolution or intention? If you do, raise your hand. Wow, you guys got a couple hours. All right. Start to get on that. I guess you can figure them out here. Well, if you think through it, what is your New Year's resolution? Is it the same goal that you failed to achieve last year, maybe? But this year, you really believe you're going to make it happen. According to a study done at the University of Scranton, 92% of people who set New Year's goals never achieve them. That feel right? So let's look at a different approach, setting intentions. Omar Itani is a writer and a publisher of The Optimist, a bi-weekly newsletter with insights on creative success, personal growth, and slow, intentional living. He states, an intention is a guiding principle for who you want to be and how you want to act, live, and show up in this world. An intention serves as an internal compass. He goes on, an intention shouldn't be confused with a goal. A goal is a desired outcome you wish to attain further into the future. An intention is a chosen theme that allows you to create alignment in your life. Think of it as a greater aim, a holistic purpose or an attitude you're choosing to commit to. With an intention or theme, happiness, meaning, and fulfillment become a byproduct of how you behave rather than what you achieve. Itani suggests choosing a word or definition for your year ahead. Some examples he has used in his own life include truth, being true to who he is and further exploring that truth. Wisdom, to seek wisdom and learn as much as he can from all of his experiences. Consistency, to be consistent in his writing. And depth, to go deeper into knowledge, practice, and what he gives. He gives another example. For instance, if you're overwhelmed with activities in your life and you feel like you're on the verge of burnout, perhaps your intention for the year should be self-care. You will then put yourself first, and anything that doesn't align with your emotional and your mental health should be thrown out the door. He concludes, throughout the year, whenever you're faced with a dilemma, you can now ask yourself, does this align with my intentions? The answer can then dictate how you proceed. At the end of the day, an intention shifts the focus away from accomplishments and the outcome of your goals, and onto your behavior and the way you choose to live your life. If you live in alignment with your intention, you will become who you want to become. Peace, fulfillment, and happiness will naturally ensue in the daily process of becoming. So take the time to think about your one-word intention and ultimate purpose for this year. Walking the labyrinth may help you gain clarity about what your intentions will be. Now we are going to sing hymn number 1011. Elaine will play it once through, and then we will sing it twice through. Hymn is Return Again. Thank you. You may be seated. We will now enter an interlude of music and meditation to allow you time to consider your intentions and to walk our labyrinth. Several of you may walk the labyrinth at the same time, though you should allow space to elapse before the person entering ahead of you. We have both Lori and Alice are going to be our first in line, and should space yourselves out 5 or 10 seconds between, just to make sure there's enough space ahead and behind as people contemplate. You may pause in turns to reflect on your journey and intentions, to hold others in your thoughts. You can either line up here at the start and wait for people to go through, or you can sit in your chair and wait for the line to dissipate before you come up to the labyrinth. We'll have 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how we're going on time, and I will ring the meditation bell to start and then to stop. Okay. Welcome back to the present. How many of you have intentions now? Now, please rise and bow to your spirit as we sing hymn number 16, Simple Gifts. Elaine is going to play it through once, and then we'll sing it together.
The purpose of this church is to encourage all who gather to grow more generous in spirit and in action. We will now greatly receive an offering to sustain this self-supporting church and its ministries within and beyond our walls. If you happen to be watching online, we hope you will consider making an offering through our webpage, uushenandoah.org. Now, as Zelda comes forward again, let us all say together, Hear from our homes the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of our community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. This is the part. The new year is before us, like morning fresh untrodden snow, unmarked by human tracks. As we walk the days ahead, may our paths be straight and clear, widening into highways fair. Where we pause and have dealings with others, may homes of fellowship arise. May streets and marketplaces echo with gladness. May we build a city of tomorrow. Peopled with understanding and rich with peace, the new year is like a new day unlived, a tomorrow yet to dawn, without life and empty. We shall fill the coming year with our daily living. It is ours to make or mar. May our dreams and hopes be worthy of the best within us, and our lives be worthy of our dreams. Sydney H. Knight, edited by Carl Seberg.
Hi, my name is Taiko Floyd. Dixie asked me to explain about the flower arrangement today, so I didn't know when to do so right now.
This is fine.
Okay. This is the typical Japanese, the end of the year. Also, it's a very sacred time in Japan. And I used my garden's bamboo and pine trees. This means a long life, and also I can't see from my seat, but I put the crane that is also symbolizes the long life, and so the long life with the happiness. And I thought this year especially is peace on earth and everybody's happiness. We all wish upon my arrangement, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to express my feeling for this new year. And especially in Japan, at the end of the 31st, December 31st, 12 o'clock, entire Japan the temple started to have a gong with a ring, 108 times, which means in Buddhism, we have 108 supposed to be evil things, and try to get rid of the end of the year, the evils, and welcome the new year. So this symbolizes, it's a sort of Japanese, the feeling of the new year. And in Japan, they use a big bamboo, and 3 straight, bamboo is always very straight, and then pine trees last quite a long time. So this is a symbol of sort of Japanese New Year, but also matches with here.
What a